gives a slightly rounder sound to it. I like playing with the pick just because it tends to cut through the cymbals and the other instruments that are on the stage and jumps out a little bit more. But I'll play on the rhythm pickup to get that rounder tone from the neck position rather than trying to go. You can go with a more brash tone, but when you get a metal slide on that treble pickup, it tends to change the tonality quite a lot. Really cuts through, really can sometimes be a little bit abrasive depending on how you feel. Everybody's got their own taste. And of course you can get some modifications by turning the slide slightly. You don't always have to play slide directly straight ahead. But the biggest thing about slide guitar is that you must remember you never are pressing the string down. You never actually make contact with the neck or the fret, ever, because that will kill the tone. It will kill the vibration of the string. What's happening is your slide is creating the note from this point to the bridge, wherever you're at, on the string riding above. So you have to get a sense of feel. If you push down, you kill it. Here's normal. If I push down, you can hear it going da-da-da-da. Don't want that. And of course, the big thing about slide is that when you learn to play guitar, you learn to play frets. So you're actually playing in the space between. You're actually playing behind the fret itself to create the note by pressing the string down behind it, and that little bar is actually what's making the pitch happen from this point to the bridge. With slide, you can't put it there or you'll be flat or out of tune with the rest of the band. You have to learn how to play right on top of where that fret position is, not behind it like you would if you were fingering. Otherwise, you'll be slightly flat to everyone in the band. They will sooner or later tell you to go home. Always got to try to get on top of that fret. That fret is your marker, and that's where your actual true pitch is. It's right above that little fret bar. So one of those things to keep in mind. Never depress and never go behind the fret. Always on top and always up above. And another great thing about slide, too, is there's actually multiple tones happening in a slide, okay? When you put this metal bar on this metal string, you have a pitch happening from the point where the slide is to the bridge. Here, there's also, there's a resonant tone happening from that space where the slide is back to this nut here. Now that can be kind of annoying if you're playing on a loud amplifier if you don't dampen it. So you'll see a lot of slide guys, if you've ever noticed, you'll never see a slide guy play on his index finger. I mean, I've never seen anybody play on their index finger. The big reason is because we like to leave one finger behind the slide to act as a dampener. What it does is it kills those weird resonant tones that are happening from the string length behind the slide. Because there are actually still tones happening when you're just pressing on top of the string. And it can make you sound muddy or actually make weird tones and then overtones that will come out in the playing. So what you do is you want to keep a finger available to kind of run behind the slide, and what it does is acts as a dampener to kill those little resonant frequencies from the strings behind. Sound much cleaner and much tighter. Now, of course, cleanness also is a big part of your right hand. Playing slide is just like playing guitar. If you're going to play, there's other strings ringing. Just because you can play the notes here doesn't mean that all those other strings suddenly stop resonating. So you have to learn control with the right hand. I use a mixture of techniques from like the sides of my pinky when I'm playing on low strings, grab here, and as I move the higher strings, I will then use this part of my palm and the edge of my thumb to act as a dampener. And as I move across the strings, I just move my hand accordingly. So you'll notice the pinky never kind of loses touch. And as I move across the higher strings, you see more of this side of my hand laying across the strings. It just basically helps keep the other strings quiet and makes what I'm doing, stand out and have a little more punctuation and a little more clarity. Right now, fingers are laying across these strings, killing all the high ones from resonating when I'm low. As I go high, side of my thumb and palm are now laying across the strings above to help kill them. Just a little thing you learn as you play more and more. It's just, you eventually become second nature. You won't even think about it, but it takes time to develop that little ability to kind of gently move across the strings, keep the stuff that you want heard, heard, and the stuff you don't want heard, silent. So, you know, that's just practice and repetition. And, I want to make this real clear. There's no such thing as a natural. There's no such thing as a guy who can pick up a guitar off the pawn shop wall and suddenly be Eric Clapton. Okay? I don't care what they tell you. That guy bought that guitar, went home and practiced incessantly and played those parts 10,000 times and then suddenly could play everything great. Because repetition is, the bottom line is we all have to repeat things to learn and develop muscle memory. You know, the little things, well, yeah, unless you sell your soul. I don't know, man, I went to that crossroad. I sat there all day and nobody showed up. I don't know. My mom always said the devil didn't want me. He's afraid I'd take his job. There's a lot of great slide players out there. Some of the earliest guys, you know, Elmore James and Sunhouse and all those guys were doing stuff more acoustic oriented. I learned playing more electric oriented slides, so I must admit I'm kind of a child of the 70s, so I was a real big Duane Allman fan, you know, and Allman Brothers and all that kind of stuff. So he played actually with a real medicine bottle. In fact, they started remaking the medicine bottle from the company that he actually uses. Jim Dunlop's actually making a historical recreation of the exact brown medicine bottle. It was some aspirin bottle from some company a bazillion years ago, and he soaked the labels off of it and cleaned it all up till it was just glass and played with that thing till the day he died, you know. So, I mean, you can find that stuff out there. But everybody has their own preferences, you know. I like steel on steel. Some guys like glass on steel. Some guys like brass on steel. Some guys now, a lot of folks, I got to admit, I'm kind of getting a little bit partial to the ceramic ones that they just started making. There's a company out in, what is it, Colorado, I think? Yeah, called Rocky Mountain Slides, and they're making some marvelous ceramic slides that are really, really, really high-fired, so they're pretty strong. You know, I mean, you can still bust them, but they're really, really strong, will take a little bit of abuse, and really sound warm and rich. You know, have a very nice tone on nickel strings.